Yeah, so welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. So we got 5 things. There are somebody emailed us and said, what are the things to be considered before retiring here in the Philippines? So what are the things to be get ready, and what are the preparations to be done? So other thing on that is a lot of expat and a lot of people that doing videos about that, and all is about your preparations on adapting the culture. So you should put on your mind that it's not just uh, when you come to other country, you need to consider to adapting the culture. You need to adapting about how they live here, and the system here is not the same where you came from. So if you live in the city, in wherever you are, and you suddenly wanted to retire in the province, you need to consider about the healthcare that is not really always accessible, whatever the test that you wanted to do. The other thing on that is when it comes to the food, because when you live in the province, you need to make you are aware that there are no big malls. So like here in Talibon, there is an Alturas mall, and in Ubay there is a new one, pure gold but there are the things that is not accessible. For example, there are some experts saying that, oh, I love to have that food, but I cannot find it. I cannot find it here in the mall in Talibon. So Terence said it's either it's a bit you go to Tagbilaran, you go to Cebu. So that's why there are other foreigners that live here in the area and they wanted to buy that. They go to Tagbilaran because there are bigger mall there, and then they buy it in bulk, a lot. So that's one thing that you need to consider, if you retire here in Bohol. But if you retire here also, and the other thing about that is the brownout. There are areas, especially if there are some towns here there are some islands here in the Philippines that excessive brownout is really always. So for example, in Siquijor right now, it was declared of it's declared now because there are shortage of electricity. If you go to Palawan, there's shortage of electricity, and even here in Bohol we got interruptions of brownout. We got a blackout for one day, and sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours. So that's what you need also to consider, when you that's what you need to consider it also, and bear in mind that you're not in other countries. So that's why other foreigner, when they build a house, they put a solar system. They get solar because aside from it's practical, it's also a big help when the brownout came, or there are some uh, interruptions of electricity. So I said the you need to be bear in mind about the healthcare here, uh, the food that you're not used to, that you cannot find easily. You don't easily get it in small stores. And also the culture, the adapting on the culture. you know because other experts saying, oh, I cannot understand about the driving here in the Philippines. I cannot understand people just suddenly, drivers just suddenly turn, go straight in the road. So that's one thing that you need to consider also. About the, as I said, it's part of the culture, and it's part of because some of the drivers here learn by experience. Learn from the kid, especially the kids. They learn in the younger age, and then they drive 13 years old, 12 years old, and then that's what taught them. So that's another thing that you need to it's a lot of things to be considered, but of course it's a preparations about your mind, about your preparations of how, and your selections of what island you want to do, you want to go, you want to choose. But my suggestion is, if you wanted to retire here, don't buy right away a property. For example, go around in some islands that you feel that you are comfortable with, or you're saying that, oh, this is the place that I'm looking for. So don't right away buy a property. Instead, do the renting. Do the rental, because that's more practicable, because it's easy to buy a property. It's easy to buy a property, but it's difficult to dispose. It's difficult to sell it. Especially, or if you wanted to rush it, the amount of money that you're gonna receive it is not as big. As compare if you're selling a property and not in rush, you can demand how much price do you want. So that's another thing. Don't rush buying a properties. Instead, do the rent. Do the rent. There are a lot of cheaper price to rent per month, depending also on your location. You know. So that's another thing. And then somebody commented also, how about what's your comment about Mindanao? Mindanao is safe, but there are also other parts that we suggested that don't not recommended, especially if you're an expat and you don't know exactly, you don't know people there, you don't know exactly, you don't have anybody that live on that area. So try to avoid some parts of Mindanao, but Mindanao is safe. But there are portion, or there are towns in Mindanao that we suggested that don't go, uh, those uh, those uh, those towns that is practically not safe. So that's my question, that's my answer on your questions. And if I suggest, if you love on the city, then try Cebu. Manila is really crowded, but there are a lot of cities in Luzon that is a lot of expat. Example in Pampanga, a lot there. They are also in Baguio. It's still it's Baguio City. So there are a lot of cities. So as I said, go around, enjoy, and check around what is your preference before doing a permanent residence. And also it depends also of if you find a Filipina, because of course if you find a Filipina and that Filipina wanted to be close to the family, then that's another thing that you need to consider. So, have a great day. That's the answer of your question, ma'am. Sir, have a great day. Thank you so much and God bless. Bye-bye.